Hey guys, it's your boy KRS, and today I'm going to show you the unkillable blood decay. Now this build does work in 2s, it could work in 3s, and it'll definitely work in solo queue. So, this build is an anti-caster build and an anti-melee build. Now with the playstyle, there's two playstyles with this. So basically with the anti-caster build, you're going to go, and this is kind of where it's defined. I have it set up a little weird right now, but I'll link a few different talent builds. It don't really change too much. But basically, Blinding Sleet is going to be your default. I know I have Permafrost up, but basically this is for setup goes, depending if you're playing 3, solo queue, whatever, or grip, whatever it is. It's ridiculous. So cold thirst with your death grips, you have 15-second death grips, and if you're running cold thirst and death's echo, you have 2 charges of that. Now your kicks on a 12-second cooldown, your grips are on a 15-second cooldown. You can imagine this can get a little crazy, especially if you run in with Strangulate and you're playing with a monk, or you're playing with a Fury Warrior, or you're playing with whatever it is, and you have a stun if you need it. So basically there's a couple builds for this, and it kind of revolves around this talent, Blood Feast, for casters. Now in PvP combat you have about 570 with the gear that I have now. This increases when you're in PvP combat. You have about 1,000,000 health as a blood DK in PvP combat. My DK is not fully geared at all. And when you use vampiric blood, you have vampiric blood all the time because you're spending runic power. So basically with this build, not only are you dealing a ton of damage, and you always have vampiric blood, you always have dancing rune weapon from your parry with insatiable blade. Now there are a few things that you can do. This is kind of the I would say, melee build in 2s, 3s, solo queue, whatever you're queuing, hell, even RPGs, BGs, whatever it is. Now I am playing 2s with this. It is kind of ridiculous because the thing is even when the dampening gets super high, even if the enemy healer is not super you end up parrying so much damage and healing for so much from your dot that a combination of blood-forged armor, you're never gonna die. Bloodshot, Heart Rend is going to increase your damage as well with Death Strike, and you're Death Striking all the time. And with Dancing Rune Weapon, if you run Last Dance, it cuts the cooldown in half, because normally it's a 2-minute cooldown. You cut it down to a 1-minute cooldown. And basically you can run with the crit trinket. You do want more crit with this build. Mastery doesn't hurt too with this build. I know some people say, haste is good too. Haste is really good with a blood decay, but you get reinforced bones. Or actually, hold on, which one is it? Improved bone shield. Bone shield increases your haste by 10%. So basically, you have 15% haste from your 4-set in this. Shattering Bones, obviously it's going to increase your damage, your sustain, your peeling with Death Echo, with Death Grips, with Death Echoes, and this talent here, Grip of the Dead, basically a 90% snare. So you're always peeling something, and you basically force them to hit you, or chase the target, and they're doing no damage while you're actually kind of pumping. With blood, you're doing a lot of sustain. And with this, I would say this is kind of, you go into A-bomb. So basically, A-bomb when you do A-bomb's limb and a normal thing as a DK, you're actually tend to use it more for a go, basically. But with blood, I don't know, DKs have used it defensively in the past, and they use it defensively now as well, but it's better offensively when you're a DPS Deathknight. When you're the tank version, when you're blood DK, if you actually use it, there's two ways to use it. You have the offensive build and you have the defensive build. So basically, if you're in a 2v2, you're going to constantly be A-bombing the enemy DPS back in your death and decays, and you're going to be chaining them, and you're going to be spending a ton of runes and runic power and getting death strikes. This is really good into warrior blade storms. You can actually grip a warrior's blade storm. You're always going to grip a fury warrior unless they use spell reflect, but even then you can still knock off spell reflect with death's caress. Just something to think about. Unless they run rebound, I think is what it's called for the spell reflection talent. Bloodshot heart rate increases your damage. Just everything is just thinking about increasing your damage, basically. You can run this. This is not really that good. Relish and Blood's kind of terrible, in my opinion. Better to have 2 stacks of Riddlers. I actually didn't see that. But another thing that actually does quite a bit of damage is your Bloodworms. Just, it's not much, but over the course of a campaign game, it's actually quite a bit. So, let's get into this. I will link a anti-caster build with Cold Thirst, Death's Echo, all the good stuff. Relish and Blood, or Blood Feast. It makes you absolutely unkillable versus casters. And I know tanks do take extra damage, but even with Death Strike being nerfed in PvP as far as the healing, if you're able to have 1,000,000 health and at the same time have a damn near 800,000 AMS, you're not gonna die. You know? And your death striking, you're gonna be healing for millions of. You're gonna be healing for couple, like 2 million if they have a go on you, I think. And you're just peeling and you're interrupting everything. You're basically just a juggalo running around in, you know, the nice neighborhoods screaming obscenities. It's basically how I like to think of it. I will link a anti-caster build and a anti-cleave build, or anti-melee, whatever you want. And I'll put those down in the description, but I wanted to show you guys this quick video on blood decay. So you guys have a good one, and I hope you guys have fun with it. Actually, before I say all that good stuff, I want to show you that we actually do damage. Right here. This is versus a Fury Warrior and a Resto Druid. My healer died, and I ended up one versus 2ing. And killing the Fury Warrior and Uming the Resto Druid. I'm top healing. That's the Druid's healing. That's my healer's healing. You do take increased damage as a tank in PvP, but you end up having so much health as a blood DK. And just everything that works together with your parry chance on your crit and your mastery, it gets insane. But that's what I wanted to show you guys. As far as the whole thing, you guys have a good one. I will put a anti-caster and an anti-melee talent builds in the description, and you guys have a good one. Goodbye.